everyone. If you're new here, welcome. I am 2023 Northbound Thru Hiker Queen of Hearts. It will never get old introducing myself that way. I thought it would be a really great time to come to you and talk all things Georgia. Coming up on almost a year that we took off and we took our road trip down to Georgia and we started our first steps towards Katahdin. It's truly surreal, and honestly, it's such an exciting time of year watching all the thru hikers hit the trail, or maybe just a section hike. We met some great section hikers in Georgia, and I want to tell you and share with you all the tips and tricks and all those first steps, the rain, the pain, and our first steps towards Maine. I think that the first thing I would recommend is right now, make sure you have the Far Out app. Make sure you download the entire trail. It is going to be your Bible on trail. You are going to have access to so many resources. It will be something that you look at multiple times a day. So do that first. So what I want to share with you first is I can only speak from my experience. So if you are looking to do a northbound thru hike, there's the southern terminus is Springer Mountain, and there's two ways to access Springer Mountain. The first way, which is the way we took. Now we came in by car, so we drove into Amicalola State Park, and we being myself, my husband, and my daughter, because if you don't know, we actually vlogged our entire thru hike here on this channel. We did the approach trail. Now the approach trail is 8.8 miles from Amicalola State Park. You have options at the beginning. You can, and a lot of you may already know this, but you can register your hike online before you go. It's a great way for the ATC to track, it's a loose track of who's going to be out there for the campsites and to kind of track where the bubble's at each year. We started March 22nd. And we got our hiker tags, got to Amicalola State Park. We got some little presentations on the Leave No Trace, the bear hangs. We got our packs weighed.
Hi, nice work.
Thank you.
And then comes Mom. Let's see.
All right, Mom, let's see what you're doing.
Our packs weighed. We got questions, stories. It was truly great. I was so glad that we started down there. I mean, I would not have given up my chance to get my hiker tag. That is really a little, it's truly like, it just sets you apart in a way. In towns, people know what you're doing, what you're up to, and you're registered with the ATC. You get text messages along the way for road closures, high water crossings, and then further up the trail. It's just, I recommend it. I'm glad I did it. We then went through the iconic arches at Amicalola, and that first mile takes you up the big staircase that leads you to the top of the largest waterfall in Georgia. And that was wonderful. That was 1 mile. And in the meantime, my son drove up to the lodge, where we had a reservation, and we had our dinner there that night. We had our last night. We set our last shower. We said our goodbyes the next morning after breakfast, and we finished off the approach trail. That was our first day on trail. We said goodbye, and off we went. The approach trail is beautiful. It's not super challenging. It's a great, I think for me, being a first-time thru hiker, I absolutely have zero regrets of doing those stairs or doing the entire approach trail. Now, if you choose not to do the approach trail, There is a parking lot a mile away from the top of Springer Mountain, the southern terminus. It's about an hour drive from Amicalola Lodge, but you can get up there, backtrack a mile to the summit of Springer, and start your hike.
I feel like these stumps here in the middle of the trail are iconic in some sort of way. So we're pushing on to Stover Creek shelter, and we have a little road crossing here. So I'm gonna follow the white blaze up on those trees. See? So we just went a mile from Springer, which was pretty quick actually. All downhill.
It really is a sense of relief once you just hit that trail and start walking. After going up and over Springer, we continued on to Stover Creek Shelter, which was 2.8 miles from the first White Blaze, making it around 10-ish miles for our first day on trail.
It's even better than I imagined.
Perspective's a little different after you've hiked the entire trail like I have, but I will tell you that Georgia was a little colder than I expected.
For night one, pouring rain. So we're just trying to get everything situated, and I changed. Welcome to the AT.
I think a great tip would be to get yourself out there before you hit the trail, whether it be for a thru hike or a section hike, and go on those bad rainy days. The days you just want to roll over, get out there on those days, because honestly, the beginning days were so rainy in 2023, but it didn't bother us as much at first. The terrain was a little steeper than I expected. Georgia makes up 78 miles of the Appalachian Trail for northbound thru hikers. And you learn quickly that you do have access to some roads, Woody Gap, Cooper Gap, there at the beginning miles of Georgia. It's 20.9 miles before you can get a ride to your first hostels, which are Hidden Pond Hostel and Above the Clouds Hostel, both which we did not stay at but have amazing reviews and I'd love to visit. We learned quickly that trail magic is a real thing, and it's something that is undescribable, the love and care from strangers.
Ah, there he is.
Those first days are really acclimation for the everyday things you'll be doing repeatedly, filtering your water, finding good campsites, always looking above your head to make sure there is no branches when you set up your tent. A lot of people rely on the shelters as well, which also kind of shorten your day because you don't have to set up. You just put your mattress down and you're good to go. We didn't do that too much. It is true, you will pack your fears and you will probably bring too much food at first. But don't worry, your hiker hunger will kick in soon and you'll wonder what you're going to eat and how you're going to eat it. You'll be thinking about food all the time. We did do most of our resupplies along the way, and your first resupply is at Neal's Gap, which is your first stop coming up. It took us about 4.5 days to get to Neal's Gap.
It does not take long to figure it out. Bandanas are life, right? Ah, there's the infamous Blood Mountain Shelter. Oldest shelter on the AT.
Now, if I was going to suggest any section hike on the Appalachian Trail in Georgia, I would say Blood Mountain would be the one. Get a beautiful view up there. You can access it from Neal's Gap and just make it a little day hike. Now, up at Blood Mountain in the cabin, they do require bear canisters. And also, if you were to sleep up there, you need to camel up some water because there's no water sources up there. When you come down from Blood Mountain heading north, you will reach Neal's Gap. Mountain crossings, your first resupply, first place you can get a box or a package.
So we have a couple miles till we get down to Neal Gap. We're not hanging our boots in the tree, so we did get a cabin there though, so we can dry out all this stuff drenched. So this is day 4 on the AT. And we had 2 days of beautiful sun and warm weather and 2 days of rain. So I feel like I'm gonna call this a beautiful day. There's the infamous tree with all the shoes from either broken feet of hikers that got new ones or decide to hang it up. We are not doing that. Our feet feel good. Hey, how are you?
Mountain Crossings does have bunks that are available first come, first serve, but we opted to stay just a bit down the road at Blood Mountain Cabins. They were beautiful. It was $99 and you drop your laundry off at the office and they do it for you and it's ready for you in the morning. We then called Ron's Appalachian shuttle service and we got a ride down the hill.
Wall, with the exception of one spot.
Highly recommend Ron. He's wonderful. Ron will pick you up at the airport in Atlanta and drive you all around Georgia to as far as Fontana.
So we made the executive decision to hike an extra 3 miles into Dix Creek Gap. So we're going to go into Hiawassee and Clayton, Georgia, one or the other.
And here at mile 69, everything changed for us. Our first hostel.
NoBOs, but they kind of fit the open knee and the alter knee. That's why it's
And from Dix Creek Gap, we got a shuttle from Lennon, the shuttle driver, for around the bend, and we got our first hostel stay.
God.
Thank you. We came in and we got a shuttle from Lennon.
This is where we began to make our friendships. And we continued these friendships all along the trail. And Around the Bend has a full gear shop.
Feels like we've been out here forever already. Melina's got a sunburn and we're just tired.
You will really amaze yourself at how easy it is to adapt to life out there. You will grow comfortable and strong in ways that you just never thought imaginable. And of course, the people along the way really do make the journey. Next thing you know, we were in North Carolina. That would be 8 days with 1 0 day. Thank you so much for coming along on this recap of Georgia. I will be back with North Carolina. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments.